Good morning, North Central Washington. Good morning, Wenatchee Valley. It is Tuesday, the 28th day of November, 2017. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Coops. This week is just flying by. It's already Tuesday. How you doing today? Great show for you. Great show for you today. Right out of the box, our good friend Steve Hare, news director extraordinaire. Again, still a little bit under the weather. It's been going around. We've had some coworkers not feeling particularly healthy, but Steve is on the road to recovery. I already talked to him this morning. He's getting better, and he promises he will endeavor to do his best to get down here tomorrow. In the meantime, we do have news for you. Grant Olson, our evening news anchor, will be handling your morning news headlines on this Tuesday. Quite a bit of news to get to as well. But I still have a chair to the left of me because Glen Fisher will be dropping by. This is his second appearance on the show. He comes by just about this time every year to talk about Journey to Bethlehem. The 8th annual Journey to Bethlehem is coming up. It starts on Thursday, the 30th, and goes through the weekend. We'll talk about that incredible experience, your journey back in time to Bethlehem on the night that Christ child was born. The Seventh-day Adventist churches have been doing this for 8 years, and they're doing it again this weekend. It's a great conversation. Glen Fisher, my guest in the second half of the program. Birthdays, today in history, the obscure holiday, sports, your weather forecast, and everything you're used to on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley here on the NCW Live channel. We are broadcasting live from Studio 3. And we have some great footage for you this morning because we just have some good footage, and we have some great cameras in some really cool positions. Courtesy of Localtel Sky-Fi high-speed wireless network. It's around the Wenatchee Valley, North Central Washington we go with our Valley View cameras, and there is, of course, the Wenatchee Valley proper. Good morning. You can see the high clouds there. There's a weather system that's moving into the area. It's going to bring some light rain, very light rain, scattered showers, if you will, to the Wenatchee Valley, but it's going to bring snow to the higher elevations, the magic number, 2,500 feet. 2,500 feet and above, you're going to get some snow today. In fact, there's a winter weather advisory for the mountain passes. We'll get to that in just a little bit. So good morning, Wenatchee. Although we're not at sunrise yet. Sunrise isn't until 7:24. There's enough light out there to let in the spectacular view from the cross camera. Speaking of spectacular views, monitor is looking good. Let's say good morning to Kashmir, and we are doing so right now. Good morning, Kashmir. You can see the Wenatchee River to your left. You can see Highway 2/97, that ribbon of highway that goes between Kashmir and Wenatchee on the morning commute. Beautiful Kashmir itself, and of course the Cascades covered in snow as we get closer and closer to winter proper. Heck, December is Friday. Can you believe that? Union Valley is looking really good too. Good morning, Lake Chelan. There you are, Union Valley, way up there. That's the cool thing about these Sky-Fi towers. In order for the Sky-Fi high-speed wireless system to work, they have to be way up high. They have to be on peaks all over North Central Washington. And we take advantage of that by putting high-definition cameras on there. Chelan, you can see yourself right down there in the lower left-hand corner. And on the lower right-hand corner, there's a ginormous NCW life bug. Oh, that's actually on the screen. And finally, let's go to Cougar Ridge, back to the Wenatchee Valley. There you go. The Cougar Ridge camera is pulled back. Yes, we can move the cameras around. We can move the lenses around. We can zoom in and out and go left and right and up and down. Technology is a beautiful thing. Good morning, Wenatchee Valley. Of course, you see the old station area, Omi Garden, Sunny Slope, and the Otabashian Bridge on a Tuesday morning here. Thank you for starting your day the NCW Life Channel way. And yes, we do have a way. We don't know what it is, but we're working on it. From the National Weather Service, here is your weather forecast today. It's going to be fairly cloudy today. There is a weather system. It's already on its way through the area, and it's going to continue to move through the area. And we have a break, and then another system on Thursday. Then we have a break, and another system on Saturday. So basically every other day is what we're looking for. Wet weather, anyway. Yesterday's high was 48 degrees. Normal is about 38 degrees, so it was a milder than normal day today. Today, a little cooler, 41. For the high today. Rain today between now and about 4 off and on. No real measurable rain, just little spittles here and there. And then that system I mentioned exits the area tonight. Wednesday, we go back to pretty quiet weather. Partly sunny to high of 45. Wednesday night, another system rolls in, and that means Thursday, kind of like today. Just a slight chance of some light showers here and there, quite a bit of clouds, and a high of about 41 on Thursday. And then the system exits Thursday night. Friday, pretty quiet. Patchy fog, lots of clouds, no precipitation on Friday. Friday night, in comes another system, and then Saturday, chance of rain. So as you can see, we kind of go back and forth and back and forth. It's teeter-totter weather, and those afternoon high temperatures and those overnight lows just about normal for this time of year. Nothing really crazy out there. All things considered, it's pretty quiet from Mother Nature's perspective, but that's the valley floor. Cascades, That's another story altogether. Again, 2,500 feet is the magic number. Above that, the snow will be coming down. Blue Pass is looking at 1 to 3 inches, even more on Stevens Pass. Let's take a look at your pass report on this Tuesday. Right now, I-90, Snoqualmie, no advisories, no restrictions, nothing coming down. Roadway is pretty much bare and dry. They're not expecting a great deal of snow on I-90 Snoqualmie Pass. Now, Stevens and Blewett is another story altogether. Right now on Stevens, traction tires are advised. Overcast skies, roadways bare and wet. You'll find some frost and ice in places. There are no advisories or restrictions on Blewett right now, but all of that is going to change. Blewett's going to get anywhere from 2 to 3 inches, they expect today. As far as Stevens Pass, 4 to 8 inches possible. There is a winter weather advisory that is in effect now, and it goes until 11 o'clock tonight. So the same system that's going to bring us light rain here in the valley floor is going to bring significant snow to the mountain passes. 4 to 8 inches possible Tuesday, an additional 3 to 5 inches possible Tuesday night, and then things get quiet. Wednesday and Wednesday night, very little snow at all in the forecast, and then as we mentioned before, that second system comes in on Thursday, going to bring 2 or 3 inches of snow in the mountain passes, and then it goes quiet, and then a little bit of snow over the weekend. Most snow accumulations expected today and tonight. Again, winter weather advisory, 2,500 feet and above, snow. Below 2,500 feet, rain, with a mixture of rain and snow at times on the lower parts of Blewett Pass, and even Loop Loop could get a little bit of snow today. So there you go. No advisories or restrictions on Blewett or I-90. Traction tires are advised on Stevens, so you can expect quite a bit of snowfall on Stevens, not so much on Blewett, and very little, if at all, on Snoqualmie Pass. 6 minutes after the hour. Going to take a quick break. When we come back, Grant Olson will handle your news. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley live on the NCW Live channel.
December 2nd is the date you want to be at Antique Mall at Cashmere for their Customer Appreciation Day. Don't miss out on the fun. There will be door prizes, free gift wrapping, layaway, gift certificates available, festive refreshments, and loads of special sales throughout the 15,000 square foot mall. The Antique Mall at Cashmere has something for everyone, from the avid collector to the do-it-yourselfers and toys for the young and young at heart. At Antique Mall at Cashmere, you'll find treasures in every corner.
Dear Mary Maids, please clean the kitchen, and the cabinets, and floors, and the chairs. And I wish you could clean the dog. Colin is now feeding himself. Thanks, Megan.
Hi, Megan. No worries. We got it all cleaned up. Let's hope Colin gets past the spaghetti flinging stage soon. Till then, we've got you covered. See you next time, Mary Maids.
And now it's time for your local news update with Steve Hare.
Good Tuesday morning. I'm Grant Olson in for Steve Hare, and here's your Wake Up Wenatchee Valley news update. A Cooley Dam couple suspected in a weekend stabbing in the Moses Lake area are now in custody. Responders were called about 4 o'clock Saturday morning to the 11,000 block of Road 14 Northeast for an adult male who'd been stabbed. Rebecca Norton and Aaron Faltzgraf Miller surrendered without incident shortly after 4 Sunday afternoon. The victim underwent surgery at Samaritan Healthcare in Moses Lake to repair injuries from multiple stab wounds to his neck and torso. The victim has not been identified. Around 8 o'clock Saturday night, Douglas County deputies responded to a report of shots fired at a residence at 2200 Monroe Avenue in Bridgeport. Upon arrival, deputies arrested one possible suspect on an unrelated charge. No one was injured and no property damage was reported. Douglas County Sheriff Harvey Jesdal says leads are still being investigated and no further information is being released in the case at this time. At a special hearing yesterday, Chelan County Commissioners continued a discussion on the Lake Chelan Shoreline Master Program. The hearing is a continuation of a hearing back on November 21st, where commissioners discussed power lines, shoreline buffer tools, and houseboats and liveaboards. One of the unresolved issues at that last hearing was the definition of a houseboat, and a liveaboard. Lilith Vest-Spear, senior planner with Chelan County, explains.
The board wanted to discuss how houseboats might fit separate from floating homes. So what staff has done is we've drafted a definition of a houseboat, and then we've added it to the use matrix, which just identifies uses available, and then listed it potentially as a shoreline conditional use permit. We're just tweaking floating homes to take out houseboat, define it separately, then a vessel. And a liveaboard is any vessel, and those are licensed under the state. Any vessel that has a living quarters available to it. It may have a little kitchen, it may have a little restroom, bathroom facility, it may have a sleeping area. And liveaboards can be used as a residence, generally with an address assigned to them.
Vespear also explains how the results of the hearing will affect developments on Lake Chelan regarding permanent residency.
County as a whole, the question isn't really about any one particular development. It's about what's best for the county and what do the residents want to see on their water bodies. The question will be, do we want houseboats? One, and if we do, how do we want to regulate those, if at all? So staff has proposed a shoreline conditional use permit for a houseboat. They tend to have a higher impact, both visually as they're moored on a dock or in a marina.
We will have much more on the results of Monday's shoreline hearing tonight on the NCW Life Evening News. In other news this morning, flood control zone is in the news. With the adoption of a comprehensive plan, the Chelan County Flood Control Zone District is one step closer to bringing reduced flood insurance premiums to the county, along with a set of guidelines for the district's priorities. The comprehensive flood hazard management plan passed on November 13th and will make its way for review and comment at the Insurance Services Office of the Federal Emergency Management Administration. According to officials, developing the plan was a necessary step in applying to the National Flood Insurance Program's community rating system. This will help the district reach its goal in reducing premiums. The plan is available for review through the Chelan County website. Residents are in the final days of delays as major elements of a roundabout on Highway 150 and No-See-Um Road near Chelan are completed this week, that according to the State Department of Transportation. Construction on the $5.2 million project began in April and caused significant delays in travel time, upwards of 90 minutes in some cases between Chelan and Manson. The DOT brings the project to an end with a ceremonial ribbon cutting this Wednesday at 10 a.m. The ceremony will be held on the bicycle pedestrian path on that new roundabout. And that's a look at your Tuesday morning news. I'm Grant Olson in for Steve Hare, and I hope to see you later on for the 5, 6, and 10 o'clock NCW Life Evening News. Have a great day.
Thank you very much, Grant. We appreciate it. And a friendly reminder, you can get a hold of us in any number of ways. You got a telephone? Pick up the phone and give us a call. You see the number right there, 888-NCWL, a little acronym for NCW Life. You can email us right there, news@ncwlife.com. You can go to our website at ncwlife.com and click on the Contact Us tab and get a hold of us, or you can go to our Facebook page and message us, whatever it takes. We'd love to hear from you, our viewers here on the NCW Life channel. And a friendly reminder, the Wenatchee School Board meeting tonight. The 3 victorious candidates in the November general election will be sworn in tonight, and we'll have that story for you a little bit later on. It is 14 minutes after they are. Going to take a quick break. When we come back, sports. What sports there is mostly Seahawks related. Plus, we have the obscure holiday today in history, birthdays, and everyone is entitled to Mike McNally's opinion. And don't forget, Glen Fisher will be joining me in the second half of this program to talk about Journey to Bethlehem. It's back. It's a busy Tuesday here on the NCW Life channel.
I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCW Life channel.
I'm Eric Grandstrom with NCW Life Sports.
I'm NCW Life News Director Steve Hare.
Catch us on Local Tel Channel 12.
You can watch us on Charter Channel 19 or stream us live on ncwlife.com.
Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook.
Where we cover the local high schools, the Wenatchee Wild, and the pro teams out of Seattle.
On Saturday, we have a 90% chance of rain.
Catch it all right here on the NCW Life channel.
When family come to visit, bring them to Kashmir for a fun Applets and Cotlets factory tour. Liberty Orchards celebrates 97 years making delicious candies such as the original famous Applets and Cotlets and other fruit and nut specialties like Fruit Delights, fruit chocolates, and nutritious orchard bars. Liberty Orchards Country Store is open 7 days a week for your holiday shopping. Try the delicious confections at the free sample bar and share with family and friends out of state with easy online ordering. Liberty Orchards, taste the goodness.
Wow, look at that sunrise. Isn't that gorgeous? Caitlin, let's just throw that up on the screen here for just a couple minutes. I don't want to do sports right now. I just want to look at that. Wow. Is that Union Valley? That is Union Valley. Isn't that just incredible? Just in just the 5 or 10 minutes since the last time we checked out the Union Valley camera. Look at that beautiful Lake Chelan. Okay, well, we still got to do sports. In fact, like it or not, the winter sports prep season is underway today. They get going. Here is your prep schedule. Can you believe it? It's time for winter sports already. Boys basketball. Pateros and Manson will be at the Chelan Jamboree. Cascade will be at Quincy. And Kashmir will be at Eastmont. And that is boys basketball. Girls basketball, Cascade is at Quincy. Pateros and Manson again at the Chelan Jamboree. Kashmir is at Ellensburg. And girls basketball at Eastmont hits the road. They'll be down in Kennewick to take on Southridge. And finally, we got wrestling, or as we like to say, wrestling. Wenatchee and Kashmir is at the Moses Lake Jamboree that gets underway at 5 o'clock. Girls bowling, the defending state champion Eastmont Wildcats will be hosting the Davis Pirates, and the Ellensburg Bulldogs will be taking on the Wenatchee Panthers. Both of those, of course, at Eastmont Lanes in beautiful East Wenatchee, Washington. Seahawks coach Pete Carroll met with the media Monday after Seattle's 24-13 win over San Francisco Sunday. He said he was happy with the defense, although he said he wished the offense had showed up just a little bit earlier.
Dealt with some elements early in the game and kind of got through that and came back out in the second half and got rolling pretty good. It was a really steady day of defense. The guys played hard and good and got after it. Very consistent throughout the game. And once we got going on offense, we had pretty good second half finish and did a nice job. Special teams were real solid in the game when it could have been a factor because of the weather and the wind and all. Those guys came through and did a solid job too. So good, solid division win, and we're back coming home Sunday night and looking forward to it.
The big news out of Seahawk camp yesterday happened at 7:10 Cairo a.m. when Pete was doing his usual Monday interview. Pete Carroll making headlines. He let the news go that Kam Chancellor is out for the season with a neck injury.
He feels good. He feels comfortable. You know, he's not in discomfort at all, which is good. But there's a process as far as when we do the work with up and down stuff. We'll figure that out. And really, I'm trying to be very respectful of Kam and let him kind of call the shots as far as, you know, what's known and all that kind of stuff and how he wants to talk about it, because this is him. You know, it's not us, it's him. And we'll support him in all that we can. Yeah, he was a fantastic factor in this game. In the locker room, he was big time, and on the sidelines, he was big time in helping the communications and stuff. And, you know, so I'm glad he's staying with us and still adding the presence that he's always been able to add.
In that same radio interview, Pete Carroll added that Cliff Avril will be undergoing surgery today. He's going to miss the rest of the season. He asked for privacy for those two players as they deal with these injuries.
I know you want more on that stuff, but I'm just trying to respect their situation as much as I can, and to give you a little bit opens up the doors for these guys. They don't want to talk about the stuff either right now any more than they have to, and so, you know, I hope you would respect that part of it. Each one of them is an individual and how they're looking at it, and we are too, you know, and trying to support them and guide them and help them, and that's I don't know. I mean, I don't know how to speculate about that based on the stage of their career and all that.
Pete Carroll also hinted that running back Chris Carson's recovery is coming along nicely, and in fact, he may return to the Seahawks before the end of the regular season.
Chris could come back to action in essence, starting to work out, you know, on the field and all another week from now. He has made tremendous progress. I don't want to rush him on anything or expectations-wise for you guys either, but he has had a great recovery, and so we'll see what happens. He's running on the changing direction and starting to do some, you know, more aggressive stuff this week. He has been running, you know, on the field and all that, and he'll be doing stuff. And each staging of it depends on how he responds to it, and that's what we have to. So it's always after the work, and so this week will be really important, and we'll have a lot of information more for going forward. You know, there's a chance, and so we'll hold out hope for him. I know he's dying to play, and he's done everything he could possibly do, and he just handled the rehab to this point, you know, well beyond expectations. So we'll see what that means.
The team with the best record in the National Football League, the Philadelphia Eagles, will be in Seattle Sunday Night Football on NBC. It is 20 minutes after the hour. The obscure holiday of the day today is the first meal I ever made on my own when I was just a little bitty kid, because it's pretty easy to make. Today is National French Toast Day. Doesn't that look good? I want to have some right now. The only thing that looks better than Union Valley is a big plate of French toast. It's easy to make. It was the first time ever. I watched my brothers and sisters and mom make it. I can do that. You take the bread and you put it in the egg, and then you put it in the frying pan, and boom, a little powdered sugar, a little syrup, and you're in business. French toast goes back to medieval Europe, maybe even earlier than that, because French toast, what would happen is the bread would be the first thing that would go stale, and in order to make stale bread last as long as possible, they would take the stale bread, they would soak it in a milk egg kind of a concoction, and then cook it with leftovers so they can make the bread last as long as possible. That's how French toast came to be. And of course, French toast is not true French toast unless you use powdered sugar. It's very, very important. Cinnamon is also fun, a little bit of whipped cream, nothing wrong with that. Strawberries are a nice addition to French toast. It's easy to make, it's filling, and you should have it today. Have it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It is National French Toast Day. Although I must say, I don't know why it's called French toast. I did a little research online and don't know why it's called French toast. I guess you got to call it something. It beats medieval Rome toast, I suppose. French Toast Day today. It is November 28th. Today in history, four items. They're kind of all over the board today, too. The very first American automobile race was held on this date 122 years ago. That's the winning car. November 28th, 1895. It was a 54-mile race from Jackson Park in beautiful Chicago, Illinois, to Evanston, Illinois. That's the winner. His name is Frank Duryea. Frank Duryea, the winning automobile. 54 miles. It took them 10 hours. 10 hours. Average speed, 7 miles an hour. It was a big deal. Huge. This is before automobiles were mass produced. Now everybody, after this, wanted an automobile. And it began the beginning of the end of the horseless carriage, and you all know what happened. First American automobile race happened on this date in 1895. Today is the 75th anniversary of the Coconut Grove fire. 492 people killed at the Coconut Grove nightclub in Boston, Massachusetts. It could have been much, much worse than that. Boston College was undefeated, ranked number 1 in the country, and on that Saturday, they were due to play Holy Cross, and if they beat Holy Cross, who was not very good, they would win the national championship. And so they had planned to have a big celebration that night at the Coconut Grove in downtown Boston. Instead, Boston College lost. Holy Cross beat Boston College by a score of 55-12, and so the big post-game celebration at the Coconut Grove was canceled. And because Boston College lost the football game, the team saved their own lives. It was a Saturday night of Thanksgiving weekend. There were 1,000 people crammed into the Coconut Grove, which had a maximum occupancy of 460 people. 1,000 people crammed into it, having a big party. Fire broke out. 492 people were killed. The second worst fire by death toll in American history. It happened 75 years ago today, and yes, they are doing commemorations in Boston today. 74 years ago today, November 28th, 1943, the first meeting of the Big Three. There they are. Franklin D. Roosevelt, President of the United States, Winston Churchill, Prime Minister of Great Britain, and Soviet Premier Joseph Stalin met for the very first time at the Soviet Embassy in Tehran, Iran, to discuss war strategy. They met for a couple of weeks, ironed out a lot of differences. The big thing that Joseph Stalin got out of the deal is that Roosevelt and Churchill promised in June of 1944 that the United States would open up a second front to take all the pressure off the Soviets, who were just getting hammered by the Germans, of course, along their border. The Big Three met for the first time on this date in 1943. And 43 years ago today, Thanksgiving evening, 1974, on stage, John Lennon, Elton John. For John Lennon, it was his last ever concert appearance. He joined his friend Elton John on stage at Madison Square Garden for 3 songs. It's a great story. Elton John performed on John Lennon's song, Whatever Gets You Through the Night. John Lennon was the only solo Beatle not to have a #1 hit. So they made a bet. Elton John said, if this song goes to number 1, John, if your solo song, whatever gets you through the night, goes to number 1, you have to promise me you will go on stage and play that song with me. And John said, okay. He didn't really think it through. Well, it went to number 1, and Elton John called him up and said, hi, John, you remember the promise you made to me 6 months ago? It's time to pay up. A very nervous John Lennon took the stage. They performed Whatever Gets You Through the Night, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, the great Beatles song, which is a big hit for Elton John as well. And they closed out the concert with I Saw Her Standing There, a Beatles classic written by Paul McCartney, John Lennon's last ever concert appearance 43 years ago today. And at 25 minutes after the hour, the last time of business before we take a quick little break, birthdays. It's all music related today. Every one of these are musical legends, including Berry Gordy Jr., who celebrates his 88th birthday today, the founder of Motown Records. He started out, he owned a record store, so always had that kinship with Berry Gordy Jr. He made the major business mistake of opening up his own record store and only stocking it with good music. Yeah, it failed, but he had the bug from that point forward. He founded Motown Records. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1988. Motown Records was the highest earning African American business for 27 years of any business. Motown Records. Berry Gordy Jr., the founder, born in this state 88 years ago. Randy Newman is 74 years old, enjoying a career renaissance. Of course, he's been winning a bunch of awards, Academy Awards, Emmy Awards, Grammy Awards. He's won a bunch. Great artist, great songwriter. I highly recommend 2 albums that you need to get. Sail Away and 12 Songs are both really good, but most of Randy Newman's work is really fantastic. Randy Newman is 74 years old today. And the great Canadian keyboardist, multi-instrumentalist Paul Schaefer. Of course, he was David Letterman's musical director, band leader, and sidekick all through David Letterman's 2 shows, Late Night with David Letterman from 1982 to 1993, and then on The Late Show with David Letterman from 1993 to just a couple of years ago. The great Paul Schaefer, working hard, great talent, funny guy. Paul Schaefer, 68 years old today. Don't forget, if you know somebody who's celebrating a birthday, you can get them to me. If you go to our website, ncwlife.com, you'll see the icon for Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. You see a picture of me doing this. Click on the icon and up will pop up the birthday club submission form. You fill out the form, you attach the photo, you get it to me. I'll get your birthday on the air. Or if you want to, you can just go via our Facebook page and just message us that way, all right? So get a hold of us. We'll get your birthday on the air. Everyone is entitled to Mike McNally's opinion in just a couple of minutes. It's going to be a good one today. And then after that, of course, we'll be talking with Glen Fisher because Journey to Bethlehem is back for the 8th big year up at the corner of 5th and Western. It is a huge thing, and it's become a really new tradition in the Wenatchee Valley that people really seem to love. That'll be the second half of the show. Speaking of traditions that we're proud to be a part of, the Les Schwab Community Toy Drive is underway. As you're out and about doing your holiday shopping, your Christmas shopping, what we're asking you to do is to pick up a new unwrapped toy and bring it to any of our sponsor locations right here at the NCW Live channel at either Les Schwab location in Wenatchee or East Wenatchee. You can bring them by the Wenatchee World, Sangster Motors, Columbia Valley Community Health, Works. Thank you, Blair McCaney. Hooked on Toys is a great place to go because you can buy the toy and put it right in the box right there. And by the way, there is a list of all the toys and the age groups and the toys that are in demand. And you can look at that list by going to the Les Schwab Community Toy Drive Facebook page. Go to your Facebook and just type that in the search bar. You'll see the list. Buy the items that the kids need. We want every kid in North Central Washington, without exception, should have a new, at least one, hopefully more than one, brand new toy under the Christmas tree this holiday season. We're counting on you folks, the Les Schwab Community Toy Drive. You'll be hearing about it a lot over the next month or so. 28 minutes after the hour, we're going to take a break. Everyone is entitled to Mike McNally's opinion, then Glen Fisher in studio. Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, Tuesday edition on the NCW Live channel.
This is the NCW Life Community Calendar brought to you by LocalTel. Head on down to the Wenatchee Valley Museum December 2 from 10 to 4 where kids of all ages are encouraged to come and make handmade gifts and crafts, warm up with a cup of hot cocoa, and get their picture taken with Santa. Also, Stage Kids will be performing Bah Humbug, a musical adaptation of A Christmas Carol, November 30 to December 2 at the Numerica Performing Arts Center. Tickets can be found at numericapac.org. For more information, visit ncwlife.com.
Praise Praise Fruit Barn has so much to be thankful for and invites you to their holiday open house. Come and enjoy hot cider, wine tasting, and tasty treats as they celebrate the announcement of being open every month of the year. Leavenworth Quilt Company inspires ideas from simple to amazing with gorgeous fabrics, interesting patterns, and inspiration for all levels of quilter. Shop Dilly Dally, a wonderful gift shop with many one-of-a-kind gifts and a corner just for the little ones. Stop on by this Saturday for the open house at Praise Fruit Barn.
Turn back the clocks and grab the ice melt. Winter weather is here. This is Corey at Rose Tractor. If you're looking for a reliable way to clear snow, look no further than Cub Cadet. For sidewalks and driveways, a Cub Cadet snow thrower will get the job done in a jiffy. For larger jobs, a Cub Cadet Challenger utility vehicle with a snow blade will handle about anything. You can depend on Cub Cadet for years of reliable performance, and we'll help you select the best model for your job at Rose Tractor, family-run business at the corner of 3rd and Rock Island Road in East Wenatchee.
Hey folks, Carrie from Blueberry Hills. A chill is in the air and it's a perfect time for some old-fashioned comfort food like our amazing Eggs Benedict, chicken fried steak, French dips, soups made from scratch, or fruit pies fresh from the oven. The crowds might be gone, but we're still here for you folks, so bring an appetite and a friend to Blueberry Hills in Manson, where you pick, you sit, you eat, and you visit. Open Wednesday through Sunday from 8 to 3. wildaboutberries.com.
Life is about memories and lasting impressions. With Boswell's expansive 2-story showroom of quality home furnishings, you'll find everything you need to create a home to remember. Need assistance? From fabric options and complimentary design service to complete home makeovers, Glenn, Buffy, and Teresa are there to guide you. Come into Boswell's and find inspiration and comfort for every room in your home. Boswell's on Easy Street. It's closer than you think.
If you're stuck trying to find the perfect beer for you, look no further than Badger Mountain Brewing. We specialize in creating tantalizing craft beers that will soothe any picky taste buds and will satisfy your cravings. Check out everything from our amazing Honey Blonde that will appease even the most finicky taster, or a delicious frothy stout for dark beer lovers. Experience them all at Badger Mountain Brewing.
This is Mike Mad Dog McNaughty, and everybody's entitled to my opinion. Now, I was having a conversation the other day with someone about race issues. And this person that was telling me that as me being part of the dominant culture, I couldn't understand what it was like to be discriminated against. Well, I agree. I personally can't claim to ever been a victim of this discrimination. My parents, even though they were white people, they certainly could. As a child, my mother was a German enemy alien during World War II, growing up in a Russian neighborhood in Singac, New Jersey. And my father, in the Newark area, he was the son of an alcoholic Italian immigrant in the days when political correctness didn't exist. Now, I'm not saying this is the same as what other minority races have experienced in this country over the years, but discrimination is not an issue only based on race. It's not. So this is Mike Mad Dog McNaughty, and that's my opinion.
Join us for Street Talk and Other Stuff with Mike McNaughty on the NCW Life channel. This former police sergeant is plugged into not only the world of the streets, he's an actor and connoisseur of the arts. So join Mike and his guest for, Street Talk and Other Stuff. Mondays at 10 a.m., Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m., and Wednesdays at 5:30. It's Street Talk and Other Stuff with Mike McNaughty on the NCW Life channel.
Life Community Calendar brought to you by Localtel. Journey to Bethlehem is November 30 to December 3 and includes a large cast, a living nativity with a camel, and a Christmas concert. Tour times are listed at j2bwenatchee.org. The Wenatchee High School Madrigal Feast is November 30 to December 2. This kingly dinner, replete with song and entertainment, will take place at the WHS Auditorium at 5 p.m. each night. For more information, visit ncwlife.com.
The Cottage Inn has been a Wenatchee Valley landmark since 1940, making it one of the longest-running locally owned restaurants around. And it's better than ever. steak, seafood, and their famous homemade desserts for dinner, wonderful lunch items and breakfast on Sundays, all made from scratch and at an affordable price. It's no wonder the Cottage Inn has been so popular for over 75 years. Enjoy a fabulous meal today at the Cottage Inn on Easy Street in Old Station.
Thursday night, hockey night on the NCW Life Channel. It all begins at 7 o'clock with a call of the Wild and Clarkie's Corner. Then it's non-stop hockey action with a voice of the Wild, Arch Ecker. Join us as the Wild battle the rest of the BCHL. Thursday night is hockey night on the NCW Life Channel.
And we are back here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on this Tuesday. I am Dan Kuntz. My guest was here just about a year ago. At this time, he's one of the coordinators of the Journey to Bethlehem interactive experience, which starts Thursday at the corner of 5th and Western at the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Glen Fisher is back. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
This is the 8th Journey to Bethlehem.
It is. 8 years. Can't believe it's been that many years.
And what is your role in all this? Are you the coordinator? You're the spokesperson? You're the...
We have about 10 people on a leadership team, and so I guess they call me the director, but I do whatever needs to be done.
How did you get that gig?
8 years ago, we kind of got together and decided we wanted to consider doing this, and I guess I was picked to help out, so here I am.
Do you have good organizational skills? Because my guess is there's a lot of logistics involved in this.
There is a lot of logistics, yeah, and I guess that's probably being a contractor for 25 years, probably learned some of those skills then, so.
Take me back 8 years. Was this an idea that was creatively acquired from somebody else, or was this something that organically came out of the church?
Yeah, it actually, Longview Kelso started Journey to Bethlehem, I think it's been about 16 years ago. And so some people in our church had gone through it and kind of decided they wanted to pursue looking at it. And so we got a hold of their script and kind of got information from them and then adapted it a little bit and changed it up to make it different and new.
You said script. Is there a story involved? I mean, outside of the story of the night the Christ child was born, but I mean, as you go through it, are you going to be, is it a plot and, you know?
There is,
okay,
and we've changed the plot every couple of years or so. This year, basically the cousins, who are the group of 20 people that the guides and assistant guide has taken through the tour, their goal is to set up a bakery because they want to take advantage of the amount of money they can make while all these people are in Bethlehem. So they're kind of looking at it from a standpoint of being able to make a lot of money and become rich. But as the story goes through and they start hearing about the Christ child, their emphasis goes from wanting to earn money to finding the Christ child. So that kind of storyline kind of changes as you go through. And so it's that's kind of woven into the script.
And that's not a bad idea because you want to, it's the Journey to Bethlehem, same thing every year, but...
Yeah, we try to change it a little bit each year.
Right, but of course the core of the story doesn't change.
Core of the story does not change, yeah, exactly.
150 actors and actresses, give or take a couple. How do you make that work?
Well, it's a challenge, yeah. I was just adding up while I was sitting back there, and I think we're probably about 180 people in costume. And then probably another 60 people that are actually on site, from ticketing to refreshments to security. So there's a lot of people involved in it. We start in October, recruiting people, and this year we probably had a third of our cast is new, and so we're really happy that we're getting a lot of community people involved.
Is there a formal rehearsal? I mean, a rehearsal, then a dress rehearsal, so everybody knows their roles and what to do, like you would see like with a play or musicals, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we have 2 formal dress rehearsals, and then we have 3 rehearsals prior to that. So we have tried to do it in 5. Before we used to have like 8 or 9 or 10 rehearsals, and it was just too much, so we're really trying to condense it down. So
where did all the costumes come from?
All handmade locally by women in our churches and other community members that have gotten together and have made all the costumes, and they're authentic to the time period. The only ones we haven't made are the angel wings and also the guard costumes, which are authentic costumes, but they're bought from a company that supplies the movie sets with authentic authentic Roman guard costumes.
So do they have to make new costumes every year, or they made the first costumes 8 years ago and they're in storage and then?
They store them, and then they're constantly, every year they're repairing and they're making new ones. And of course, they have to fit everybody. And so sometimes they're actually altering the costumes right at the time they're fitting the person. So they have sewing machines set up, and so they're yeah.
But we have some photos to show. We'll get to that in just a minute. I have
Okay.
one more question before we throw some photos up so you have an idea of what to look for starting on Thursday. Opening night jitters, does it happen? Is everybody all, okay, here we go, it's opening night on the 30th, or is it?
It's too much to do to worry about jitters.
Yeah.
Maybe the cast do, but yeah, Thursday we're spending all day just kind of prepping and finalizing everything. And so yeah, it's no jitters.
Well, did you know this was going to take off? Because you mentioned that Longview Kelso had been doing it and had been quite successful. Do you have any idea that this, 8 years later, it's this huge event that everybody goes to?
Had no idea. The first year, we didn't do online ticketing, so it was all walk-in. And the event started at 5:30, and by 6 o'clock we had 600 people in the church and a line out the door down the street. And yeah, it was amazing.
I remember because I parked at the college and I got in line there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, people waited 3 hours to go through, and everyone, as they came back out, said they would do it again. Now it's not quite as long of a wait.
Mm-hmm. But it's still so worth it.
It is worth it. It is worth it.
We do have some photos that we brought along to so you give you a general idea. What are we looking at there, Glenn?
So this is the tax collector. So when the group comes in, they're going to be paying their taxes to Caesar. And so the Roman guards are going to be roughing up the crowd a little bit. And of course, the tax collector, he doesn't care about anything but collecting the money. So he's there to take their money from them.
And I don't know, I'm pretty sure the photos that we have here, Glenn, are not in chronological order, but here's our next one.
That's the money changer.
Uh-huh.
Of course, the money changer's out to make his cut as he changes your money. And so he's there to help you spend your money.
And as people go through this, the story develops and evolves,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the actors have lines and that
Right.
kind of stuff.
The wise men.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll spend time with the wise men, and they'll talk about their journey and that they're looking for the Christ child. And so this is kind of where the story kind of takes that change that we were talking about earlier. And after the wise men, then their focus is really on looking for the Christ child at that point.
And by the way, I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil the ending. Next one.
See, this shopkeepers, I think that's the herb shop. So they're trying to sell their wares to the group as they're coming through, and so there's a lot of interaction. So you can think of there's 75 people in the village costumes because we have 2 shifts.
Mm-hmm.
And so just a lot of busyness, a lot of activity, and a lot of people trying to engage in the guests that are coming through.
What's the hardest role to play in all this? Is there a real challenging role for some of the local folks involved in this?
You know, the guides and the assistants, they work all night long from 5:30 to 10. And so they're with the group of 20 going through, and so theirs is probably the most involved role because they're constantly engaging the group and they have the most lines. Mm-hmm. But any of the speaking parts, like the wise men or shepherds, tax collector, they also have some pretty significant lines.
And my guess is there's very little improvising. It's pretty stick to the script.
Some of the guides have some interesting improvising that they do, but yeah, basically the script is held to pretty close.
Held to pretty close.
Yeah.
Have other churches call you up? Hey, Glenn, you got this from the Longview Kelso area, and now Wenatchee's doing it, and now we're in on it too. Is this becoming a movement? This kind of event, this kind of show, Journey to Bethlehem?
There's quite a few churches. Spokane does it. Auburn. Yakima does one, so there's quite a few in the Northwest here that actually do real similar to what we're doing.
Most people have been through this. At least I like to think most people have been through this. For the first timers who have never gone through the Journey to Bethlehem, what can they expect? How long does it take? That kind of thing. Can you give me those details?
Sure. Okay. So they'll get to the church and get their reservations, and they'll wait in the sanctuary, and we have music that plays the whole time. So we have singing groups, musical groups. Some of them they would recognize. I won't name the names because some of them, because they're doing it free, don't want advertising. But they'll spend maybe a half hour waiting for their tour to start, and then they'll come out. It's a 40-minute tour, so they'll be outside for most of 40 minutes. And so they'll meet their cousins, and then they'll go through their tour, come back in, have refreshments, and then so that period takes about 40 minutes plus the time that they're getting refreshments.
And how many people are in each individual tour group?
We try to keep it at 20.
Okay.
Yeah, we've had to go as large as 25 or 30 at times because of the number of people, but 20 is really the best size.
And it has to be done this way because it's the 20 and then they move along to each stage, as opposed to, say, like a haunted house or something where you go in and you go out and you work your way through it. This is a different thing, right?
It's actually choreographed. If you looked at the way we do the timekeeping and actually get the groups to know when it's time to move, the people going through would have no idea that we're actually keeping time and actually giving signals for groups to move. But we move right on time every 5 minutes, and if your tour starts at 9 o'clock, you're going to go in at 9 o'clock.
And that's a great way. It's because you're going to be in the, as you mentioned, inside as you prepare to go.
Right.
But the entire journey to Bethlehem, the actual program is outside.
It is
so
outside.
You have to
so dress warm.
appropriately.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And it looks like everybody in costume doesn't have any problem with that. Those are big, thick, heavy kind of things.
We've had some pretty cold events before, but for the most part, they can dress warm. Yeah.
And of course, this event lends itself to an evening performance. This is not the kind of thing that you would do at 2 o'clock matinee, because it's the night the Christ child was born, not the morning.
Exactly, and we have the lighting is torches and fires. We have maybe 60 to 70 torches, the tiki torch all throughout the village, and we have fires in strategic locations. So the atmosphere is kind of fairly dimly lit, but very active.
You would have no idea, and again, I speak from personal experience, you would have no idea you're at a fairly busy intersection in western Wenatchee. You get lost in time, don't you? And that's the whole idea.
Absolutely. We have neighbors that turn their lights out for us. We have street lights that the PUD comes out and turns off for us that we have on the property. So we try to keep it as dark as possible and just authentic as possible, yeah.
So how many people work behind the scenes? The people who aren't in costume, they're just making sure everything's going smoothly, they're lighting the tiki torches, they're handling parking, that kind of deal?
Yeah. Probably at least 50 in the evening, but then on top of that, we have people that, again, sew costumes during the year. We go through 700 dozen cookies throughout the event. Usually we have up to 4,000 people that go through. And so we have people baking cookies, for the couple weeks before. And of course the setup takes us about 4 Sundays, about 3 to 4 hours per Sunday, a group of 10 to 15 people putting the set together, and so that's a pretty involved process too.
I mentioned when I went to the very first one 8 years ago, I ended up having to park at the college and walking up from there. It wasn't that big of a deal. It was cold, but it got the blood pumping.
Right.
Which brings up the question, where do people park? Because it's in your parking lot.
Yeah, and the parking lot does get full, but the way we've done the ticketing now, it spreads people out a lot more. But the college is an option. We'll have a shuttle bus running every 5 or 8 minutes from the college parking lot, the very west end parking lot at the college there. They've been gracious enough to let us use that parking for overflow.
We got a lot more to talk about with Glenn. We're going to take a quick break. We'll also talk about the live animals that they have there, because if you're going to have a living nativity, it means you got to have your donkeys and your sheeps and your camels. We'll talk about that. But before we get to that, one more question before our break. Have you had people not affiliated with the church go through the journey to Bethlehem and come out the other side and they say, I want in, I want to participate in this, I want to volunteer, I want to help you out because this is so cool? Has that happened?
Absolutely. In fact, we probably this year have, I would say, a third of our cast are not members of the Adventist Church, and so we're absolutely interested in having community people participate.
It's an incredible experience, and we can talk about it and show pictures, but the best way to do it is to go to it. It starts on Thursday. Glen Fisher is my guest today. The topic is Journey to Bethlehem. It begins Thursday night. You get tickets, all that fun stuff, and we'll talk a little bit about the animals as well. That's all coming up. You're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley on this Tuesday morning on the NCW Life channel.
Broadway's Cirque Dreams celebrates the 10th anniversary season of Cirque Dreams Holidays. Charm, sparkle, and talent by the sleigh load, says the New York Daily News. Over 20 of the world's best acts, 300 spectacular costumes, unforgettable music, and Broadway spectacle. Vegas meets family entertainment hails the Boston Globe of this season's must-see Cirque Dreams Holidays.
December 26th at Town Toyota Center, locally sponsored by People's Bank. Get your tickets today at towntoyotacenter.com.
For plumbing, heating, or cooling repair, Patriot will be right there.
Time to replace your home comfort system? This Lennox dealer can help.
If it's time to replace your old furnace or air conditioner, Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling gives free estimates. Call Patriot today.
Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling will give your home a hug.
Lennox, innovation never felt so good.
Having a relationship with your pediatrician is so important. Feeling that sense of trust, that is priceless. I tell everybody about CBCH. I love it there. When I make an appointment, I don't have to take an entire day off. As a working mom, my life is really busy. Family time is everything. That's what we all work towards. And I feel like CBCH respects that.
"51 minutes after the hour, we are live here from Studio 7 in downtown Wenatchee. My guest is Glen Fisher. We're talking about Journey to Bethlehem, which is going on Thursday at the parking lot of the Seventh-day Adventist Church at the corner of 5th and Western in Wenatchee. It's a living nativity. Goats, donkeys, sheep, a camel. I'll start with the obvious question. Where did you get the camel? I don't know too many camel raisers around these parts.
Egypt. Yeah, we had to fly her in. No. She comes out of Spokane, out of Reardon area, and it's actually a camel reindeer farm. And so they have, I don't know how many camels, and every year when they bring the camel, they have reindeer in the trailer. So it's interesting to see the reindeer too. So.
Well, I think we're mostly familiar with the story. Where does the camel fit into all of this? Does the camel just sit there and try and behave, or?
That's pretty much it, yeah.
Okay.
We have a corral right close to the wise men, and we try to get the kids right up close so they can see the camel. But yeah,
which is probably the first time they've seen one that close without a cage around it.
Exactly,
I suppose.
exactly.
Do the folks in Spokane bring a handler along, or does the camel come with an instruction manual? I guess is the question.
Well, they bring it. Deliver Lily is her name. We've had the same camel for 8 years. She was about 6 months old the first year.
Okay.
And they bring her and get her into the corral, and then pick her up when we're done with the event.
And in the meantime, you got to feed it.
We have to feed it.
What do camels eat?
Straw, I guess. Hey, I don't feed them, so I don't know.
Somebody go down to Western Market and get a pizza. The camel's hungry, right?
Yeah,
no,
that's not my job description. So.
And the camel will live there, obviously, in the corral for the 40. Have we had any issues? You hear stories about camels being somewhat temperamental. Has the camel been fairly well behaved?
Other than trying to get her into the pen, sometimes it'll take a half hour. And camels, if they don't want to move, they're not going to move. But he finally gets her in. Yeah.
And so actually no real issues
no
with
real
camel.
Issue,
That's
no,
good. But you're still dealing with goats and donkeys and sheep, and they kind of have their own personalities. Where do they come from, and how do they fit in all this?
Donkeys, all the other animals are local, and each year, we've had the same donkeys every year, but the sheep typically change every year, and we have chickens and goats, and so.
Am I missing out? So camel, chicken,
sheep,
goats, sheep,
chickens. I think that's pretty much it, yeah.
Okay. All of these legitimate to the story of the night the Christ child was born. There's not going to be a duck-billed platypus or a...
No. We work really hard to try to make it very, very authentic. In fact, when people go through, they'll see that even the cast members, there's no eyeglasses, and there's nothing modern. No cell phones.
No watches.
Jewelry, nothing that would be considered modern to our day. We have somebody inspecting every person that goes out to make sure that they are in costume appropriately.
Right. Yeah. And there'll be none of this. I'm going through the journey of Bethlehem. That ain't going to happen. Don't bring that with you.
Exactly. Yes.
Did the original working script from 8 years ago come from the Longview-Kelso area, and you just took it and ran with it, or you talked about how you've adjusted the script and made revisions and changes over the years?
Exactly. Yeah. The original script came from Longview-Kelso, and then we took that script even the first year and made some changes to it. And then about every other year we go through and change the storyline. But as far as the main speaking parts, they really haven't changed over 8 years because the story is the story.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Tickets. First of all, you're going to love this. How much does it cost, Glenn?
It's free.
Free. What kind of money? I mean, you've got to rent the camel and the sheep and the donkeys and you're baking 700 dozen cookies, just all out of the church's coffers. I mean, they're just doing it to do it.
Yep. This is a gift, and when you give a gift, you don't expect anything in return. And we have people that try to give us donations, and we don't accept them, and sometimes they get a little upset because we're not accepting donations. But we ask people to donate to their local charity if they really want to do something. But yeah, it's free. Absolutely no.
That's incredible.
No expectations.
Because you would think, just put a little coffee can out there, help you defray the cost, but that's not the spirit, is it?
Every year people say, well, why don't you take canned food and donate it, or why don't you take donations? It's because we don't want anybody to feel like they have to, or if they can't, to have to bring something to go through. Because it's a gift.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So how does the ticketing process work? Now, I know you went to an online ticket reservation system a few years ago.
Right. So, and that's the important thing to get out right now is our tickets are all gone that are on the website, but that does not mean we don't have spaces available. So walk in, people can show up anytime between 5:30 and 9:30, and we're going to get them through. And typically their wait time wouldn't be more than an hour. Sometimes it's a half hour, and sometimes if it's really busy, we can give them their tickets, and it might be at a later time. They can go have dinner or go do something and then come back. But just really to stress that they can walk in anytime, and they do not need online reservations.
The last thing you want to do is turn people away, because you don't want to do that.
We've never turned anybody
away.
Never turned
anybody. So if you show up one way or the other, you're going to get to go through the journey of Bethlehem.
Absolutely.
And again, we want to remind people it is outside, so dress appropriately. How are the dates selected to do this? Because it's just about the same time every year. It's usually the first weekend in December, and it is again this year. Is that just seems to work out?
Yeah, any later, then you're getting closer to Christmas, and people get busier. Earlier, of course, it's too early, Thanksgiving and so forth. So yeah, that just seemed to be work about the best.
Has the popularity of the Journey to Bethlehem put up the idea that maybe we should do an extra night or more shows, or is that just
we would lose all of our staff, all of our cast if we tried to add another night, or people say, why don't you do it 2 weekends? It's too intense, the amount of time that's spent during the event to make it any longer or try to do it for 2 weekends.
Well, as you mentioned before, you start the planning on this in October, right? You get everything lined up and ready to go.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it is absolutely spectacular, and it's absolutely free. That's the coolest thing. I just can't get over that. So if you show up, you're going to make it in.
Absolutely.
It starts Thursday.
Starts Thursday.
And the hours are 5:30 to
9:30.
9:30.
9:30 is when the tours.
The
tours go. Yeah.
The last tour, and it's through
Sunday night.
Through Sunday night.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 4 nights.
Cool. And both churches, Wenatchee and East Wenatchee, put this kind of.
Actually. East Wenatchee, there's actually 2 churches in Wenatchee, Abundant Life, Wenatchee, East Wenatchee Church, Kashmir Church, and Leavenworth Church. So it's really all the Adventist churches in the valley are participating and putting it on.
And again,
along with community.
Right. It tells a story for people who, I don't want to say unfamiliar with it. Should you do a little homework before if you haven't cracked open your Bible in 30 years?
I would come through and then go back and read the story. And I think that's kind of, you can do it either way, but if you don't know the story, come through and then go back and read it. And yeah, I think that would be.
Have the other folks come and see what you're doing? I'm talking about other churches that are now putting this on, say Spokane and some of the other places. They come in and through and taking notes
and we do the same thing. I've been to Yakima's twice and kind of gone through and looked at what they did and then come back with ideas, and so it kind of goes back and forth. Yeah.
So this is the 8th one. Is there going to be an 80th one?
I don't know.
Well,
I hope so, but if we're still here. But yeah, and that's our real goal, is to try to get the organization to the point to where it's less taxing on few individuals and spread it out, so that's something that we can sustain for long term, because it is something that the community really appreciates.
Oh yeah, there's no question about it. And the campus is it always going to stay there, because it seems to be a good place to put it. They have it there.
Yeah.
I mean, you got everything you need is right there. And
yeah. Some places actually have permanent built site where the structures are all permanent. We have to set ours up every year, which is a lot of work.
Yeah.
But just the way everything is confined and located, it just really gives a nice feel to the event.
Journey to Bethlehem gets underway this Thursday, November 30th, at the Seventh-day Adventist Church at the corner of 5th and Western in Wenatchee. Again, if you go to the website, j2bwenatchee.org, for your online ticket reservations, those online ticket reservations they're done, and you're going to see that. But they're not going to turn anybody away. Show up, spend some time inside, get warm, have some cookies, listen to some music, have some coffee and cocoa, and then go out and do it because they will not turn anybody away, period.
Right, and just to mention, if people wanted to come and just listen to some Christmas music, they can come and just sit in the sanctuary and listen to Christmas music for 4 hours if they want, so without going through. So really we want to emphasize that people can come and just listen to music if they would just rather do that too.
It's spectacular. I want to thank you and your good folks at your church for giving this gift to the community. It's a great tradition. People love it.
Our pleasure.
Glenn, take care,
Thank you.
my friend. Everybody have a great Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.